This is the most hated place on Earth, a desert almost devoid of human life. Yet here a magnificent engineering feat is being built, no less than a marvel in itself. In the middle of the Atacama Desert of Chile, on the top of a mountain 10,000 feet above the sea, the construction of the world's largest telescope is underway 0.40% taller than the Leaning Tower of Pisa. This telescope, when complete, will be able to see the distant planets of our universe 5,200 times closer than our eyes can. And these images will be 15 times sharper than the Hubble Space Telescope. But building the world's largest telescope in the driest place on Earth is nothing short of a miracle. The Atacama Desert is the driest area in the world after Antarctica, with some parts that have never seen a single drop of rain in history. How will this telescope be able to go back in time and see the first galaxies, stars, and planets in the universe? How can this telescope help scientists find other planets like Earth? And above all, what difficulties did the scientists and the construction team face during the construction of a dome as big as a football field in the depths of the Atacama Desert? Viewers, this is the Atacama Desert of Chile, spread over 1,000 kilometers on the Pacific Ocean front of South America. It is considered the driest place in the world after Antarctica. There are such unique colors of nature here that we are probably seeing for the first time. Here, the hornets are found very rarely. In addition, Death Valley is filled with salt, spreading over thousands of square kilometers, and there's a series of fog and mist that is rare in the whole world. But one thing that is most important for life is not found here: water. The landscape of the Atacama Desert is such that it does not rain here. There are even some areas that have not seen even a single drop of water. Due to all these features, the Atacama Desert looks like the landscape of an alien planet. It offers, and perhaps that is why the European Space Agency also tested its Mars rover on this mountain. This extraordinary project is being built on this mountain 10,000 feet above sea level, 1,300 kilometers from the Chilean capital Santiago, and 130 kilometers from the nearest city, which will give humanity the opportunity to see the view of another world in space. The European Southern Observatory, also known as ESO, is building a huge telescope on this mountain, which is called the Extremely Large Telescope, or YELT for short. Although its construction is not yet complete, it will not be difficult to guess why it has been given this name. This telescope will have a huge mirror, which will not only be 39 meters in diameter, but also 4 times larger than the largest telescope so far. This mirror can collect an amazing 100 million times more light than the human eye. But the condition is that not a single particle of dust falls on it. To avoid this, the telescope will be covered with a huge steel dome, which weighs as much as 2,400 pickup trucks. 2 huge doors will be installed on this dome, which will remain closed during the day. It is so tall that the Statue of Liberty can stand inside it. And if we talk about its expansion, an entire football field can also be built inside it. A high-tech platform has been installed below it that enables the entire telescope to rotate 360 degrees so that it is easy to see any part of the night sky. It is a matter of thinking that in this remote part of the world where there is no place of worship for miles around, how would the construction team have started this complex project, especially where there were no roads, electricity, or water, and the construction from above was also on the top of a mountain? For this project, ESO first examined many places in Europe, but in the end they had to choose this location in South America. ESO is a government organization of Europe with members from 16 countries. ESO's project head says that there are many reasons behind selecting this place for the reversal. First of all, they wanted a place for the telescope where there were no cities in the distance. The reason for this is light pollution. You must have noticed that even at night, there are often lights above cities, and if there are clouds above, they're also clearly visible. This light is much brighter than the light from a star thousands of light years away, which can spoil the image generated by the telescope. But there are many such locations in Europe itself, on mountains. So why was this location in South America chosen? It is not enough to protect the YELT from light pollution alone. It is also very important to have a clear sky. Europe has a mostly tropical climate, which is why there are often clouds here. But the Atacama Desert is one of the driest places in the world, so is cloudless for 320 out of 365 days a year, which is very important for seeing distant galaxies. In 2010, ESO's team tested different locations and finally found the best location in the Atacama Desert, a 3,000-meter mountain called Cerro Amazonas. But the problem was that, like other mountains, it was a very sharp mountain. That is, it would not be possible to do any kind of construction on it in this condition. So it was very important to cut the top of this mountain and straighten an area as large as 7 football fields. Imagine building a 3,000-meter sharp mountain and a huge field on top of it. This work is also very difficult to do with the help of excavators. So in 2014, the construction team took the help of explosives. Holes were drilled at various places on the top of the mountain, and explosives were placed and torn off using a remote controller. In this process, 100 meters of the top of the mountain was laid, which contained 4.7 million cubic meters of soil. This was enough soil to fill 1911 Olympic-sized swimming pools. After removing the soil and stones, the upper part was straightened and a path was also made to climb to the top. But this was just the beginning. A flat plain as a football field was formed on top of the mountain, but at the same time a huge problem emerged. One such problem that stalled the construction of the YLT for the next 5 years was that the engineering team noticed that sinkholes were forming in places on the top of the mountain. They would fill them in again, but after a while, many spots would automatically collapse. This was the biggest problem standing in the way of laying the foundation of the YLT. The explosives that were originally used to blow up the top of the mountain had caused considerable damage to the mountain's interior. Cracks appeared in the rocks and soil started to sink in from place to place. Every few months, there would be movement in the rocks, and then new sinkholes would form. To deal with this problem, engineers drilled several holes in the field and artificially stabilized the ground with the help of vibration so that all the sinkholes to be made were made at once. Finally, the vibration method worked and the sinkholes were filled and the top of the mountain was leveled with a shovel. The entire process took another 5 years to complete, and now the next step was to lay the foundation of the YLT. This was not going to be an ordinary foundation. This part of the Atacama Desert is a seismically active region where earthquakes are very common. To protect the expensive parts of the telescope from earthquakes, the foundation was kept separate from the dome above. Several hydraulic shock absorbers have been installed between the foundation and the dome, which do not allow the shocks of the earthquake to reach the metal dome and the telescope mirror inside it. In 2023, the foundation work was completed, and now it was the turn of the telescope's unresponsive dome. The steel structure of the dome was built in separate sections at the base camp below the mountain. Then, remote control trucks were used to transport these sections up the mountain, one by one, to the top of the mountain. After reaching the top, cranes joined these formidable structures together like Lego. The road network to reach this part of the Atacama Desert was largely pre-built. Because there is another ESO telescope 20 kilometers away from the YLT site, which is called the Very Large Telescope, or VLT. So for the YLT, the same road network was extended and brought to Cerro Amazonas. The YLT is the world's largest telescope because of its mirror, which is 39 meters large. However, a structure is being built inside the dome to control this large mirror, and you can guess how big it is from the workers standing on top of the frame. This 39-meter mirror is being made by combining a total of 800 small pieces, whose job is to multiply any light coming from space and send it to the secondary mirror M2. From M2, this light will go to M3 and then to M4. M4 will make the image sharper, and for this purpose, powerful laser beams mounted on the dome will be used. These lasers are usually set to a wavelength that excites sodium atoms in the 90-kilometer sky, causing them to glow and become an artificial star. The telescope uses this artificial star as a reference point to detect in real time how the atmosphere is distorting or blurring the light. When the distortion present in the atmosphere is detected, then the blurring present in the telescope's image is easily eliminated. This entire process is called adaptive optics. After removing the blur from the image from M4, this light goes to M5, where the image is corrected and sent for processing. So much has been said about the telescope's amazing workings. The biggest question here is, what will we finally get from the YLT? The YLT will be the only telescope that will be able to take direct photographs of exoplanets outside our solar system, those planets that are suspected of having signs of life. However, other telescopes can see these exoplanets indirectly. Only when they pass in front of their star do their shadows become visible. Through direct photography, we can learn what the atmosphere is like on these planets, and the atmosphere will tell us whether there's water there, whether there's carbon dioxide or not, or whether there is any creature that is creating pollution like dust. Due to the large mirror of the LT, it will be able to collect a lot of light, and through it we can also see into the early days of the universe. If you don't know, let me tell you that light has a fixed speed and it cannot travel faster than that. Taking advantage of this, we can easily see into the past of the universe. A simple example of this is the first ray of our sun rising every day. In fact, we are looking into the past of the sun because it takes about 8 minutes for the sun's light to reach the world. The Hubble Space Telescope can also see back 1.34 billion years in the universe, meaning its telescope captures even the faintest light that was emitted into the universe 1.34 billion years ago and has reached Hubble today. Its 39-meter large mirror, the YLT, is capable of seeing light 100 million years back than the Hubble telescope, i.e. 13.5 billion light-years away. According to scientists, the Big Bang that created our universe happened 13.8 billion years ago. This means that the YLT can also capture the scene 300 million years after the birth of the universe. It is also important to know here that the YLT is indeed quite large, but it will be the largest of the telescopes based on mirrors only, while radio telescopes have a very large dish like the one in the Golden Eye. Instead of mirrors, these telescopes look into the past through radio waves, and then their image is created through a computerized process. But in direct viewing, if we talk about the cost of it, the YLT has been estimated to cost an astonishing $160 million, which is about 13,600 rupees crore. This is almost the same cost. It took as long as the world's tallest building, Burj Khalifa, to build. According to experts, the construction of YLT will be completed in 2029. Once fully completed, it may be able to answer the biggest question: are we really alone in this universe, or is there life on a planet like Earth thousands of light years away? I hope you will like and share this video of InfoX TV. Thank you very much for your precious time. See you in the next wonderful video. Take care.